Okay, can we all rise for the pledge? Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we could just all remain standing, I'd like to have a moment of silence for the two fallen NYPD detectives, Detective Jason Rivera and Detective Wilbert Mora, who died. Thank you. Welcome to the February 3rd meeting of the Philipstown Town Board. We'll start off with the approval of minutes. A year-end meeting for December 16th, 2021. Can I get a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Reorg meeting for January 6th, 2022. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Monthly meeting of January 6th, 2022.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Monthly workshop of January 12th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. And the last, we had a busy month. And the last one, January 19th, 2022.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Yep, very busy month.
Busy month.
Jim. Way to
Okay,
start off the new year.
committee reports. Conservation Board.
The Conservation Board met on January 11th, and I think the main headline from the meeting was that the Conservation Board sent the Planning Board comments regarding the Hudson Highlands Reserve final environmental impact statement. And the main points of the Conservation Board's comments were that they believe that the Hudson Highlands Reserve is a precedent-setting application for conservation subdivisions in Philipstown. It urged the Planning Board not to accept the final environmental impact statement. It believed that conservation subdivisions are designed to allow. Yep.
Steve just said he can't hear you. Can you hold on one second?
Yeah, of course.
Say something now?
Hello, everybody. Okay. They made the point that conservation subdivisions are designed to protect and preserve the majority of the parcel's open space and land that is not normally able to be built upon in normal subdivisions. They have a few concerns with the new Hudson Highlands Reserve proposal, including even though the equestrian center has been removed from the proposal, 4 homes have been relocated to its place. And really their final kind of statement is that the Hudson Highlands Reserve looks and functions much more like a conventional subdivision. And they think that approving as a conventional subdivision is preferable to a flawed conservation subdivision. So they just really want to make their concerns in that public comment period clear. A number of properties went through their regular permitting, and I know, as we'll talk about later, there is a new addition to the Conservation Board, Scott Silver, which we'll be talking about. The next Conservation Board meeting is Tuesday, February 8th at 7:30 p.m.
Okay, thank you very much. Recreation.
Good evening. The Philipstown Recreation Commission met on January 25th. I attended the meeting and was happy to hear that the last vaccine clinic was also held on January 25th at the Philipstown Recreation Center. The COVID testing will continue through February 28th, and the county executive has scheduled it for 1 day a week from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Philipstown Rec Center. Thank you to Putnam County Department of Health and also to our staff at the Philipstown Recreation Department. This has been a tremendous effort through these past challenging times, and I think it's been very effective for the town of Philipstown. We also heard from the Philipstown Recreation Director, Amber, that the new programming began the second week in January. And while the registration is okay, there were some cancellations because of the concern about the new variant, the Omicron variant. But we're optimistic that the spring registration will pick up and be back to normal, and all the programming at Philipstown Recreation will be back to normal by the spring. The the Friends of Phillipstown Recreation is planning a March event to swap out some of the equipment that the Phillipstown Recreation Department has stored there. So there will be an announcement about that in the near future, as well as an announcement about registration for the spring programming. And finally, please do visit the Friends of Phillipstown Recreation.org online. You can fill out a form and volunteer or donate to support the center.
Just one question. So the testing is going to be 1 day a week?
Yes,
Is
Wednesdays.
there any way maybe they can change that sign down there or say when the next time?
does.
It does say? Oh,
It
I
does.
got one by the other day. It just said COVID
Yeah,
tested.
no, I noticed it this morning.
Okay,
It just
great.
says Wednesdays, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yes.
All right.
Good? You're all
And
set?
that's it. Yes,
Okay.
thank you, Joe.
Thank you. The Phillipstown Hub.
There is nothing new to report, but we do urge anyone who is in need of mental health, addiction, or any other substance abuse resources to visit the Phillipstown Hub in Cold Spring on Stone Street, or to visit it online, phillipstownhub.org, and you can find tremendous resources there and in our storefront for the Phillipstown Hub. There will be more news online as well about upcoming events.
Thank you to Danielle and the
That-
Hub. and the Hub
yes.
Committee. Thank you. Planning Board.
Okay, planning board was held on January 20th, 7:30 via Zoom. First thing on there was correspondence to CSRs, who was approved about 6 months or so ago, was asking for a 6-month extension for the site approval, and that was approved. Under old business, Audrey and Saltolinas, 5 Jingleborough Hill Road down in Garrison. We've been talking about this the last several months. Their application was approved. It's a minor project. It's a single-family home with a well and septic system and so forth like that, and a pool. That was approved. Johnson at Mountain Brook Drive in Cold Spring, New York as well was approved. That was another minor project that we've been talking about the last several months. It's a single-family home. We'll have a septic as well as another pool. Everyone seems to be building in-ground pools these days, so I guess that's a good thing. That was also approved. Sadlon, 825 Route 9D. Unfortunately, they were supposed to have a site visit this past Sunday, but with the storm and the ice and so forth like that, that had to be postponed. Unfortunately, this is the second time this applicant's site visit has been postponed. We're going to try to change things in the future when we do have meetings such like this for the planning board. If we do have to reschedule, when we do schedule, we're going to see if we can do a rain date so we don't have to go wait a whole nother month to get things scheduled. So we're going to bring that up at the next month's. Other application was Golinsky on Crest Road up in East Mountain Road North. This is a minor project, but it has a very, very long driveway going through some steep slopes. So there's a lot of concerns about the driveway being as long as it is. They came up on the site visit back on December 5th that they would look to see if there was an alternative way to get into the property. So they're investigating that. The owner did talk to one of the neighbors and they got turned down, but the planning board is asking them to try one other solution. So they're looking into that. Under new business, Cedar Hill Landscaping, they're a local landscaping company here in Cold Spring. They're looking to buy a piece of property up on East Mountain Road North, which is a commercial piece of property. It's considered a major project. There's an existing house there already. They want to add a 48 by 80 garage barn to house their equipment and also have some landscaping bins and so forth like that. This is the first time they were in front of the planning board. The planning board considered it a major project, as he indicated. A Type 2 seeker application will be going through the process. It was referred to County Board of Health, and it was also referred to County Planning. Hopefully this Sunday, they're scheduled a site visit at 9:30. Hopefully the weather-wise, we should be good. According to the weather that I saw this evening, we should be good for that. Meeting was adjourned at 9:15. I'd like to say that was one of the shortest planning board meetings I had in several years. Okay, we had a special meeting on just last week. We had a public hearing for the Garrison Golf Club and its Shakespeare Festival as well. We had a lot of participation. We had over 200 people on the Zoom meeting that night, and it was almost 50 people here in this room itself. So there's a lot of people very interested in this project. This has been probably one of the largest projects that's been for the planning board besides Hudson Highland Reserve, which Jason just reported on it. Anyway, there was it was so many people there, we have to keep the public hearing open. There was another 27 people on Zoom that did not get a chance to voice their opinion, so we're going to pick this up at the next meeting, which will be held on February 17th, 7:30. We're going to try to do the same thing as we're doing with Zoom and in-person meetings going forward if it's possible. Thank you. Oh, that meeting ended at 10:30.
Sounds like fun. Zoning.
Well, I gotta follow that, Bob. Thanks. So zoning, we haven't had a meeting in forever, but I just was notified that on Monday, February 14th, we will be having our first meeting. It will be via Zoom, so feel free to email, try to get the Zoom link, and we can send that out to you.
What a great Valentine.
I know. Let's talk about zoning. How awesome. So, yeah, that's all I have for the zoning, and hopefully after the first meeting, we can start picking up some more information we can send out. So.
Okay, highway.
Highway, first of all, I'd like to acknowledge that Carl Vazin, our highway superintendent, hasn't been feeling good the last a week or so, so just I hope for a speedy recovery from him and everything. And hopefully everything will work out and he'll be back in the office in another few days or another week or so. But best regards to Carl. Work performed for our highway department in the month of January. The crew were out in full force in the beginning of the month dealing with several snowstorms and ice storms. As you know, a few of these storms turned out into, started out with snow, changed to rain, back over to ice. So they've spent quite a few time out overtime and so forth over the last several weeks with these storms. Even though we didn't accumulate a lot of snow, ice is definitely, as everyone knows, is a little bit worse than snow. In an effort to make the parking lot better in the COVID testing center, the rec center crews also assisted with filling in potholes in the parking lots. Update on the new fueling station. The fully installed of the system by the American Petroleum team is close to being finished. So hopefully another week or two that will be completed. Hopefully by next month I'll have to say it was 100% completed. Updates on the highway garage. As everyone knows, we've been building a new highway garage in the process for the last 9 months or so. The dry wells and with the piping connection are all in place. The side and front garage walls have been poured and formed and poured. Delivery date for the building is still not until May. Unfortunately, this was we're a little bit behind schedule, but we really don't have much control with the things going on with supply chains and so forth like that. But I wish we knew about this a little bit earlier. But things happen. Still, the meeting with FEMA every few weeks to go over the process with them and some outstanding issues we have with FEMA. The Highway Department received approximately 16 phone calls, emails regarding complaints and issues for the month of January. Highway Department spent approximately $800 on vehicle maintenance for the month of January. And again, hopefully Carl get well soon.
Yes, thank you, building and land acquisitions, the only thing we have to report on is the highway garage construction, which has been delayed. It's the supply chain issues with COVID and everything else that's going on recently. So the building is being pressed. Our Palumbo group is pressing the general contractor as well as the manufacturer to get it as soon as possible. There is a possibility it could come sooner. We may actually be shutting the project down once the front walls are poured. They will be protected, and it may just be shut down for a month or two until the weather improves, and we'll bring them back, and then they could do the subgrade, the plumbing, and the slab itself. But I am not in favor of them pouring the slab in this weather, and unless it were protected by the building. So that's the way we're going. I spoke with Tom Chester today from the Palumbo Group. He has got some progress from the manufacturer. There's some questions about a crane that's going in there for the crew to lift equipment up. So that had to be modified, so we may see a change coming. But other than that, that's all I have to report on building and lands.
Yeah, I totally agree with not pouring the slab
No,
at this
you
point in
can't
time,
protect
especially if they're going to have a crane that's going to be sitting in there doing things. We don't want that on the board.
Cemetery committee.
All right, so there's nothing to report. The weather is not cooperating, as we all can see. So once the ground softens, we'll be able to revisit the needs throughout the cemeteries. So that's it.
Thank you, Megan. Putnam County Legislator was not available this evening, so I guess we'll go on to the agenda. Tara, I want to alter the agenda. Obviously, we have a special guest here this evening. Sheriff McConville and Under Sheriff Lindert is here to make a presentation and to greet us. Gentlemen, if you'd like to come up to the mic, feel free. Happy to have you here this evening. Appreciate. What's that? I'm sure they'd love to stay for the whole meeting, but.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor, members of the town board. Thank you for the invitation. Clerk Percocello, thank you for taking the notes that you do that are copious and your efforts that go towards things. We're pleased to appear here this evening. In the last 33 days, we've done a number of reorganization and restructuring programs in the Sheriff's Department. One of the immediate changes that you'll see at a governmental level that will impact Philipstown is a notification process that we're putting in place. It's a mass notification process. We'll create a byline for the town of Philipstown, and you'll get notified of subject matter incidents that occur within the township that may impact you and your operations, as well as the school, the village government, religious institutions, and so forth. We're doing this at many different layers and levels so that we can communicate information out in a timely and accurate manner. There'll be a rush of information that comes out, and then there'll be instructions what to do with respect to a follow-up. We feel that's imperative to the operation of the town of Philipstown government, the Haldane School District, the Garrison School District, and the Highway Department. We'll put all the highway superintendents on. We rolled out our first notification today to county level officials. It went very well, so we are in the process of building that. Probably take us another week to get that information out and establish those teams so that we can process that information. What I would ask from the town board, especially the supervisor, is that you designate a member to be a liaison to us so that we can begin meeting on a regular basis and that we can identify issues, concerns, and problems that you've experienced over the last few months, if not years, and we can begin a process and a program to address them so they no longer are issues, concerns, and problems. We look forward to that, and again, I thank you for the invitation to appear here this evening. I know my undersheriff is thrilled.
Kevin, I got one question. How's that communication going out?
It'll be by text and email.
Text?
We'll use your governmental email, and I haven't had the opportunity to call you, Councilman, but we want to use your personal cell phone number for that communication. That's what we're building it on. So it'll be two methods you'll get it. You'll get a text. It's the same message, but it'll be generated by us.
Well, thank you for coming. I appreciate it, both of you. And we've been in touch a lot. It's been amazing to have the open line of communication that we do have. I haven't had that before. I wasn't supervisor, but I appreciate the outreach. Somebody started one the other day with the ice storm, and I believe it came from your office,
Right.
and it was fantastic.
Right. It's the implementation of it.
Right.
We're just instituting it, and you may get one tomorrow. That also comes from Bureau of Emergency Services.
Right.
They'll get a weather report, and then you'll get weather conditions. We try to report in that venue as well. We try to utilize that system.
Right.
But we felt that it was important for us as a law enforcement agency to dive a little bit deeper and to go a little bit further than the general message that comes out. They'll send their message out, and for instance, if there were a serious injury accident on 301 or 9D that's going to impact the community,
Right.
we want to get that information to you so you can get it up on your website and you can begin exchanging that information. That Superintendent Frazenda has that information,
Right.
and so forth, so that when you do start getting phone calls, you can address it and tell them what you know. We will be rather succinct in the information that comes out and guarded in terms of the confidentiality and the law enforcement operation. But we're looking, the next, we do have a couple of programs, for a minute I'll talk about it, relative to school safety, what we want to do with school safety. We have a good program that we're going to roll out. I'm hoping April. It's got to be really prior to April because they begin getting ready for the end of the year. I've met with the school superintendents. We've established the same program for them. It involves them, the principals, vice principals, the facility manager and the transportation manager, so that they understand and they know what's going on, because that was a concern. They're getting phone calls, what's transpiring in Brewster or Putnam Valley, and they have no information.
Great.
So we want to push first.
Perfect. The more information everybody has, the happier and safer everybody will be with that.
Well, we're here to be a partner, and that's what we're going to be.
Here as well. We are as well. Appreciate your time. We've utilized the school system because they have that automated system to get out emergency messages in the past, and they can really get it. They have a big volume. So we'll be careful about anything you send to us is public information.
Right. We're going to send you stuff that you can
That we
disseminate
can
to the
release.
public.
Right.
If it requires additional information, you'll get a phone call from me.
Gotcha.
You are
Right.
your designee in that
All right,
sense.
perfect. Well, thank you. Does anybody have
Thank
any
you for
questions?
coming, and congratulations on that raid that was successful with the ghost guns. That was
That
important.
investigation is ongoing. That's a very serious investigation, and it impacts Putnam County, Westchester, and a few other communities and counties as well. So that is a high-level investigation that continues.
Well, they're guns of choice these days.
Pardon me?
They're the guns of choice these
Yes,
days.
they are. The ghost weapons are.
You can't be tracked.
Right, and I can't, because of the ongoing investigation, I can't give you too much detail, but we're very confident in where this has taken us.
Well, we appreciate everything you guys do, and your deputies are all cooperative. They've been transporting supplies to us.
Yeah, I think we put out a truckload of kits today. We got them a little late in the afternoon, but John O'Connor's been great with that, and you know what? We're trying to fulfill a role to get them out as quickly as we can and distributed so that people can utilize that and get tested if necessary and be safe.
It's much appreciated.
All right?
Thank you,
And
Sheriff.
don't be afraid, and don't hesitate to call me and ask
You
questions.
know I don't.
All right? Thank you very much. Thanks for letting us go.
Thank you, Sheriff. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Kevin.
Thank you, Tom. You can stay if you want, but
It's exciting.
it's really exciting. Right? No, it doesn't get any better.
This is the earliest I've been home in
Enjoy it. Enjoy your dinner. Thank you, gentlemen.
Bye,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay.
Next on the agenda is a resolution appointing Janice Hogan, a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Well, as always, when we have an opening on one of our boards or in one of our boards, we have qualified people step up. So, and this is no shortage. We have Janice Hogan. She's here this evening. And like Richard used to say, I don't know if it's an appointment or a sentence because it's a long term. I think, is it a 5-year? I think it's 10 for Janice.
I was just going to say, no, it's a life sentence. I mean, honor.
So, with that, can we have a resolution, or do we have a written one? Do we do?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
It's just a resolution appointing her to the zoning board.
Let it be resolved that the town board appoints Janice Hogan as a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Can I get a motion?
So moved. Okay. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Proud to have you. Thank you, Janice. Appreciate it.
Next is a resolution appointing Scott Silver to the Conservation Board.
Once again, we had an opening on the Conservation Board. Scott stepped up. We interviewed, and we selected Scott to fill the position. So he's very qualified, well-written, well-versed, has a ton of experience, and I hope will fit perfectly with the Conservation Board. Has there been any discussion of them selecting a chairperson?
Yes, there is ongoing discussion. There's a big fight for who wants it, so we're going to resolve that. No, there's
Like smoke come out of the chimney, a different color?
yeah. No, I think after this meeting on Tuesday, we'll have a new chair.
Okay, great.
So as soon as that decision's made,
Keep us posted.
yes, yeah.
Thank you. So let it be resolved that the town board appoints Scott Silver as a member of the Conservation Board. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Next is a resolution authorizing Supervisor Van Tassel to sign the Inter-Municipal agreement with the Village of Cold Spring for mutual aid in winter snow removal and ice control on public roadways.
So this is still an open matter for the village because they're waiting on a couple details from the village attorney and some dates. I've read through it. Steve has read through it. Steve is on there, I believe. He's read through it. And I also forwarded it to our insurance agency to make sure that we are covered. And it appears that we are adequately covered. So I am in favor of approving this evening, but it won't be a sealed deal until the village also approves it. We did assist the village of Cold Spring on Saturday night. Both of their sanders were down and they couldn't salt the roads because we had the snow, then the ice, and then it thawed, but then it froze. They needed to go back out. So I contacted Adam, and let me tell you something, Adam, in Carl's absence, Adam has stepped up and been absolutely amazing. Never doubted his ability, but he's quite a gentleman and does what needs to be done. So they did salt the village. They kept track of tonnage. They kept track of mileage and time. So we will work out some sort of billing or invoice them for it. So, but as Carl said, and Adam, they would never leave them without any assistance. We'd help whoever we need to help. So that did happen on Saturday night. So like I said, I am in favor of approving this. If anybody have any questions or discussion about it.
No, it's the right thing to do. I mean, the village of Cold Spring here is, we're considered partners with them, and so, if
Makes sense.
they can help us, we help them. It's just a mutual agreement.
So it is
it's the right
reciprocal.
thing to do.
Yeah, it is reciprocal. It works both ways. I don't foresee us needing them, but who knows what's going to happen, and we never know. So I guess,
Sense.
yeah, to work together. It's a good relationship to work with our neighbors. So we'll need a resolution, I'm assuming, to approve this, correct?
Yep.
So let it resolve that the town board authorizes Supervisor Van Tassel, that's me, to sign the intermunicipal agreement with the Village of Cold Spring for mutual aid in winter snow removal and ice control on public roadways. Can I get a motion? Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. So I will sign this, the official one tomorrow, Tara, I guess? Okay.
Next is a resolution authorizing Supervisor Van Tassel to sign the intermunicipal agreement with the Village of Cold Spring for truck rental of a 2001 Ford F-450 plow and sander.
Yeah, so this actually started in December. Richard worked out an agreement with Mayor Morandi at that point to lease the truck to the Village of Cold Spring for the winter period. They were stuck. They had ordered a truck, and then it was delayed because of COVID. I understand. I don't know. There was a couple of items that delayed the order. So now they're reworking or replanning. So in the meantime, we had a surplus vehicle which we leased to them for, I forget what the dollar figure was. $1,400 for the 3 or 4 month period. So they've been using it since December. So, but we wanted to formalize it and make sure that it's legitimate if something were to happen. And this truck was one of them that broke on Saturday. But they did get it working. It was just a hunk of blacktop had gotten into the salt and clogged it up. So Adam fixed that also. So, but it's back and working. So, does anybody have any questions or concerns about us leasing this truck?
No.
Okay.
John?
So,
John,
yes. Sorry.
the village attorney has asked that in paragraph 5, if you should have a copy of the agreement in front of you there, that where it says at the very end of the sentence, including attorney's fees, the village wants to change that to reasonable attorney's fees. Are you willing to limit your recovery to reasonable attorney's fees, or do you want to insist on actual attorney's fees?
I didn't hear what he said.
You want to change this to reasonable attorney fees, he's saying, I
Right
think.
here, where it says including attorney's fees, they
Yeah.
want to add reasonable between including and attorneys, correct, Steve?
That's correct.
As long as you're going to be reasonable, Steve.
Yeah.
It's
By all means, yes. So that will be, we can just do that,
So you can
And-
approve it as amended.
approve it as amended. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Ted. All right, so let it be resolved that the town board authorizes Supervisor Van Tassel to sign the intermunicipal agreement with the Village of Cold Spring for truck rental of a 2001 Ford F-450 plow and sander. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Next is a resolution introducing proposed local law number 1, 2022, entitled "A Local Law to Amend Town of Phillipstown Code, Chapter 82, entitled Energy Conservation, to update the provisions thereof regarding the State Energy Conservation Construction Code, and setting a public hearing for such." And that public hearing would be set for March 3rd at 7:30 before the start of our regular monthly meeting. And this is a roll call vote.
Okay. So, Jason, you've met with Crystal and Greg Warner. I also met with Crystal and Greg Warner. My understanding, and yours might be different, but my understanding was that we are currently basically holding building construction pretty much to this code. So it's not going to be a big change to anything. The biggest change, as Greg described it, would be on the design side, not the construction side. So when an architect or a homeowner wants to build a home in the town of Phillipstown, or design or build, the stretch code would apply at the design end of it, and there are some benchmarks that have to be met in order to meet this increased energy code. If we adopt this stretch code, it allows us to collect additional grant money towards our attempt to improve the environment and use of fuel. So I'm sure you have additional information.
I mean, I think the only thing I'd add, I'm very much in favor of it. The inventory that Phillipstown did showed that building energy usage was one of the top drivers of emissions. So it's, the fact that, Greg Warner, is very comfortable with it for what you said. And the fact is that, the projections are that, these energy efficiency updates are any additional cost of them is usually the homeowner realizes in about 5 years, and then they're just saving money on their energy bills. So it's a positive. It's a really positive thing.
And saving the environment.
Yeah.
Yes. So, as a builder, also I support it. The only question I had was, where does the line go as far as if I'm putting an addition on my house, do I have to get the rest of my home up to the current code? But there is a percentage of construction, and I believe it was 50?
Yeah, it's above 50.
So if it's above 50% new construction of the whole home has to be brought up to the newer increased energy code. But this can all be discussed during the public hearing, so this will be proposed to planning. It will also come back, and we'll have a public hearing on it on March 3rd. So if anybody has any questions or concerns, that's the time to come in, and we can open it up. So
Regarding the additions, as you see, and sometimes the planning board, people put additions on that are already bigger than the original house, at this time. So that could be a touchy subject for some people. So I think it's a positive thing here to do, but I think like I said, we'll have the public hearing and get some public input on this as well.
Absolutely, that's the whole purpose of it. So I will entertain a resolution. I'm not reading through this whole thing. Do I have to read this whole thing? So I will entertain a resolution to introduce the public local law number 1, 2022, entitled "A Local Law to Amend the Town of Philipstown Code, Chapter 82, entitled Energy Conservation, to update the provisions thereof regarding the State Energy Conservation Construction Code, and setting a public hearing for March 3rd."
Our next regular monthly meeting is March 3rd, so we'll have the public hearing at 7:30, and then the regular meeting immediately to follow.
Okay. Steve, do you have anything you would like to add?
Well, you mentioned that it goes to the planning board. It doesn't. It's not amending the zoning code. It's amending Chapter 82, which is energy conservation. So where it has to go, because it deals with building codes, is the New York State Fire Prevention and Building Code Council.
Okay.
If you want to voluntarily also send it to the planning board for review and report, you certainly can do that, but you're not required to.
Okay. Well, I would think we should go through every step necessary, so let's do that. You think it's possible to do that and get a response by March 3rd?
I don't see why not. I don't think the planning board's going to have a lot of comments on this. It isn't really the type of thing that they get into as far as this is more a building inspector
Gotcha.
type of a thing.
Okay.
But if you want to send it just to see if they do, I don't see why they couldn't.
Okay.
Yeah, they can have some comments on it or something like
Well,
that.
if we don't get it back in time, we can always reschedule.
No,
If you don't get it back in time, you don't have to do anything because you're not required to send it in the first place. So you can just say, well, we didn't get it back in time. You can always hold the public hearing, you know, just not take action if you're back, if that's the way you want to do it.
17th, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
All right, so let's keep it as it is
I can
then.
get it to Cheryl tomorrow, so.
Okay, so, do I have a motion?
Not yet.
Somebody make a motion?
So moved.
Okay, Judy, second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Councilwoman Farrell.
I vote aye.
Councilwoman Cotter.
I vote aye.
Councilman Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilman Angel.
Aye.
And I vote aye, so it's unanimous.
Next on the agenda is a report back on the granite proposal titled Combined Service Analysis to consolidate municipal phone lines and cablevision services.
Okay, this is a Bobby and Jason item, so you guys,
Well, several months ago, I looked into this. I got approached by this company, Granite, and, they sent me everything. It's kind of logical thing to do. I mean, everything that we currently have with Optimum and all the phone lines we currently have stay in place. But they can take over this and services this at a lower rate.
which sounds
Basically,
good.
which it seems the right thing to do. I mean, we're gonna save $3,500 a year, and that can be even more, because right now, that only really includes this building and the highway department, and the building department as well. But we never really got into looking at the rec center, but that's another place we can possibly look at and incorporate this into them. And, if things change, like, for example, we have 17 voice lines here. If we reduce that number, this cost will go down, but it's not significant, but it's still, that's a pretty good savings. We kind of waited, as you know, when we did this construction on this building, we split up to several locations. We were down at the Kimball Avenue, we were in the American Legion Hall, so at that particular time, we had phone lines all over the place. So after we got back into this building, I did a lot of work and get everything consolidated. We also had multiple vendors, and right now I'm really down to 2, Optimum and our phone provider vendor. And the vendor for our phones is really the phones themselves. They have a tiny little switch downstairs. If we look into this even more, there's a possibility we could get rid of that switch at some point. And not that it's costing us anything. It's already paid for and everything like that. But it's just another piece of equipment that could possibly go wrong. But anyway, I just think I kind of turned this over to Jason. He did a little follow-up, so I appreciate that. But it just seems it's the right avenue to go to.
I mean, really, Bob teed it up. He brought it all the way there. I mean, I think it's 20% guaranteed savings. The tariffs on the phone and Cablevision may change, but that's everywhere, but they would guarantee that 20% savings. And I think the only thing on the town side that would change, like Bob said, phone lines would stay the same. They would mail us 3 things to plug into the modems. And if we wanted to go with this, then the next step would be to sign a letter of agency. That would consolidate it with this new service provider.
What about a service issue? And Tara, I'm sure that's going to concern you if there's a service problem with the phones. Who does the service? If we have a problem with the system and there's an issue with the system.
Right now, we call
Kathy at Cross
Okay,
Point,
and
yeah.
to be quite honest, after we got all the kinks worked out when we first moved in here, we haven't had an issue since. I mean, obviously, if we lose power, our internet goes down, we lose everything, and there's nothing nobody can do about that. Anyone can do about that. As I said, as we get further down the line, I said there's a really good possibility we may not even need their services at all, to be quite honest. But so.
All right, well, you guys are supporting it. It saves nearly $3,500 a year. That's substantial. So I have no issue with it. And you guys did the research. I appreciate it, both of you. So do we need a motion to do this?
We don't have a resolution or anything.
No
on this. This
resolution.
is
So
It's
just
just
a
an
discussion.
informational thing, right?
Yeah.
So you'll pursue the rest of it, Jason, and get it together.
Okay.
Thank you. All right.
Next on the agenda is food scraps recycling program update /update to the Phillipstown's registration form for a solid waste management facility.
Okay,
This is your baby too, Jay.
Food scraps recycling, you know. So, yeah, I'm playing to type here, but no, it's just a quick report back on the kind of progression of the food scraps recycling program. Karen Erdl and Eric Brown, who would have volunteered to be the co-chairs of the new advisory committee, which I think the board plans to appoint at the next workshop. The next step is really they talk to the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. Okay. And the DEC stated that if we have a food scraps recycling program in town, it has to happen at a DEC registered solid waste management facility. Mm-hmm. And that is, the only one is the landfill.
It is currently still.
It is currently still, and so we would just have to modify, there's a form, and we would just have to modify to say that food scraps are also being collected there now.
Perfect. And then we'll get the names together this week, and then Tara, if we could put it on our workshop agenda for next week, we'll appoint the committee. And Steve, a resolution would suffice to do that, correct? Steve?
That's right. In fact, I have a draft resolution that I received on the food scraps program. Was a little wordy, so I'm working on modifying that. I'll have it for your next meeting.
Okay, so we can have it by Wednesday, so we can appoint them.
The less words, the better.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right,
Thank you.
perfect. I feel like I'm talking to the Wizard of Oz. The wizard, where is he? Okay, so we'll get that going for next Wednesday. We're scheduled to meet anyway, so. Putnam County Sheriff, we did already.
Next is to schedule any workshops or meetings, so we were just gonna schedule that, ARPA workshop for next Wednesday with our
Unfortunately, our
consultant.
consultant was ill yesterday, so was not able to come in.
Is that gonna be a Zoom or?
No,
In
we're gonna
person.
be in person. We'll be in
Fine.
person, so. So that's that, and then we'll do the
And that'll be
food
at
scraps as well.
7:30.
Sure.
All right. And then just the regular monthly meeting for March 3rd, which now will be the public hearing for that local law. We'll proceed that, but it'll still start at 7:30.
Yep.
So.
Okay.
Next on the agenda is the Code Enforcement Monthly Report for January 2022. The total fees collected were $26,105.50. There were 30 total permits issued, 2 new 1 or 2 family dwellings, 1 new commercial or industrial building, 4 additions, alterations, or repairs to residential buildings, 9 all other permits, including pools, decks, sheds, plumbing, and HVAC, 18 certificates of occupancy, and 1 inspection of commercial occupancy. And the building inspector wants to remind everyone it's not too late to service your chimney, avoid a chimney fire, and keep it clean.
We had a blazing chimney fire Saturday night on East Mountain North. I have to apologize. We all went to a wake today for our former building inspector, Bob Emmerich, who passed away, unfortunately, this week. So if we could all rise for another moment of silence. Thank you. So if you didn't know Bob and you never met Bob, you were at a loss, because he was such a gentleman. You want to talk about the salt of the earth. He literally, he's been with the town, I know, since at least 2001 or
2000, we actually
Yeah.
looked it up.
I was going to say, it's been a long time.
20 years after he was already retired.
He had retired. He was a building inspector in Ossining. Also the fire inspector. He came up here, was a wealth of knowledge, a complete gentleman. I will sorely miss Bob Emmerich's presence. He worked up until probably
Right at the beginning of COVID,
yeah,
for the
then
most part,
then he
is when he
stopped.
stopped.
But
Yeah.
it was a loss for us to lose Bob, and I did get to meet his son this evening and had some talks with him. And Bob never was short of a story. If you needed a story, he had one for you. And I used to find it entertaining, but we would be with North Highlands. He lived in the North Highlands, and we would be pulling out with the fire truck. He would hear the siren. He would get in his car and come down and loop through the parking lot just to know where we were going. So he was still involved right up until I saw him it had to be Christmas. we used to see him every morning going get his paper in the morning. So I'm sorely going to miss Bob. He had a great run, a great life, and was a quality of life right up until very recently. So we're going to miss Bob, and we appreciate his family sharing him with us for all these years. So thank you all.
Yeah, no, Bob was a really nice person. I met his sons today too for the first time. I spoke to his son last week or after he informed that he died, but he was a great guy. And I used to, I walk every morning, and every now and then he'd stop, turn the car off. When he'd turn the car off, I said, "This is going to be a long conversation." But anyway, it was always a joy talking with Bob. See him in the deli sometime. I'd buy him a coffee or eat breakfast with him every now and then. But he was a great man, and be sorely missed.
Dedicated to the community. All right. And thank you to Greg once again for bringing in and doing a great job. And no complaints. Happy we have Greg on board. We should probably have him here for the public hearing. That'll probably cost me dinner or something. But I'll get.
You can ask.
You can ask for that.
I'll let him. It'll cost me something. Probably better.
Yep.
All right.
Next is any other business that you guys might have.
I got one update. I've been waiting almost 6 months to get the door repaired up there at the recycling.
right.
I've been on the phone, sending a few emails, some scathing emails to be honest with you. But anyway, I got a phone call today, and they're supposedly having the door repaired one day next week.
Fantastic.
And once that door is repaired, we can definitely start looking into. We're going to start our e-waste recycling. So I would say by March, hopefully, we can start the e-waste program up again.
Perfect.
All right.
Hopefully.
You just gotta, in that old, unfortunately, the garage up there, so just needs a little cleaning up, and I'll talk to Carl and Adam and see if we can go up there one day and just reorganize some things in one side of the garage.
Yeah. I do have one other thing I forgot to mention during. I was contacted by Chris Tobin, who's the president of PVAC, in regards to the PVAC contract. I've also been in contact with Steve about this. So PVAC would like to extend the operational side of their contract, which is the wording and how they operate, where they operate, and in the manner that they operate. So he wanted to extend that to a 5-year term, but still come in yearly to present a budget. So I'm comfortable with that. I look for input from the rest of the board. And apparently the way that the payments were structured last year in our contract, they're struggling at the beginning of the year with payments that they have due. So they're looking to get a larger payment up front and then a smaller payment. I think we do it 25% over the 4 quarters. But we have a good rapport with PVAC. We also have a good rapport with Garrison VAC. And I did discuss this with Steve, but he thinks that if we change one, that we should change the other, and I agree with that. So you guys have any
So
concerns?
is that the purpose, to give them more resources up front?
Well, they do need more funding up front, but the contract seems to be working, the operational side of it. They're happy with it. I haven't spoke with anybody from Garrison Ambulance recently about it, but I will reach out to them and see if, I'm sure they're not going to have any problem extending it for 5 years and getting more money up front. So I'm in favor of doing that and renegotiating the contract. I want to get the contract done, and I want to get it to them so they have their funding, and we can move on because we have other stuff to deal with right now. But,
Yeah, that's one less thing we gotta do every year is if we do a 5-year contract with them, that's,
Right.
that's easier for us, and I think it's better for them. But if they need some more funds up front, if that's the way they need it, then I don't see, put it this way, they're not getting any more money throughout the whole year, so they just get a little bit more up front than
Right.
they currently get today.
It's the same amount.
Right.
It's
just-
just amount of
it's
money,
just-
it's just how they get it
Correct,
throughout the
just a
course
little
of
bit,
the year. So,
just, right.
there's been a great open line of communication. Everything seems to be working. The way the contract you negotiated with Richard last year on it, so it seems to be working. If you'd like to reach out to them again,
Sure.
and I'll have you do, because you have the continuity of doing it last year, you can reach out to them and just see what they're looking to do, and we'll go from there.
Sure.
So, All right, anybody?
No, I
Good.
think it's good.
Good.
I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
Is there any feedback on a new agency they have doing, supporting the ambulance corps and everything like that?
The new ALS agency, I haven't heard anything
Yeah, I
either
haven't heard
way,
anything
pro or
either. I'm
con.
just curious.
so-
I know there was a lot of concerns up front,
Right.
but hopefully they've been addressed, and I haven't heard anything since, so like you said, silence is usually golden, but that's not.
No news is good
Is
news.
correct, so, just curiosity if anyone heard anything.
I haven't heard anything.
I've seen them around, I
Yep,
mean,
I've seen them on
yeah,
calls. They,
yes.
we had a few accidents. They've been out, so it seems to be working. So,
Very good.
all right. I've also been in contact with our attorney that's negotiating, Melissa. I don't remember her last name. It's Melissa who worked for Maley. It was Judy Maley. So they are going back and forth a little bit with the union at the Highway Garage CSEA. So there was a couple items that Carl wanted added to the contract. We forwarded it to their attorney. Their attorney sent it back to us with a couple other questions. There was some changes in raises which were not in the last time, which now are in. So I'm going to hold my ground with that. But we will be back and forth again. I spoke with her today for a while. So we realigned it. It's got to go through Carl. So we're waiting on Carl to come back. Hopefully, like Bobby said, next week he'll be back on his feet and back to work. So it'll go through Carl, and then it'll go back to their representative. So that's all I have. So anybody else?
anything on the outreach worker, anything from seniors resources and
You, so I got so your letter was received, and I got a communication from Michael Cunningham just just yesterday, and he offered to if the board wanted to set up a meeting for him to come down and discuss it, or if you want to set up a meeting with him directly to have that conversation and try to resolve it.
Why don't we have him come here and you and I
Okay.
can meet with him?
Okay.
That would be the best bet. If you want to set that up, I'm working close, so I could be here in minutes.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
let me know.
Okay. I'll reach out to him.
Thank you.
And I think, we also, I think, said we were going to call on Crystal to do her, I think she meant to do her year-end report back of the climate smart accomplishments in 2021. If she's still on Zoom, I think
I think
remember
she was gonna get on once we got, as soon as we moved to audience.
Oh.
I talked to her earlier.
Okay.
She's on,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So, which I mean, essentially we're there, unless anybody else has anything else.
No, I'm just absorbing this all. So, no, if I have any questions or concerns, I'll be certain to ask. And
Don't be shy, Meg.
yeah, no, I'm not too worried about that. I will ask a lot of questions, so be prepared, Jason.
Absolutely. All right, you want to
Ready for
queue up Crystal?
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I am calling from the inside of my car. I just wanted to give the board an update what the Climate Smart Task Force has been working on for the last year. And for those who don't know what Climate Smart Communities is, we serve as a steering community to the town. And we basically are working to reduce our carbon emissions and also prepare for future climate impacts. And a lot of what we do is educating the public businesses on ways that it can reduce their carbon footprint. So this past year, we have put on a lot of events. We've done 3 electric car days. We've done webinars on fighting climate change in your backyard. We partnered with the Butterfield Library in Cold Spring to put on a recycled tag sale, which was really great. We did a holiday gift swap, also in partnership with the Butterfield Library. We hosted a very well-attended Complete Streets webinar. We launched a clean heating and cooling campaign. We've done lots of tabling events at the farmers market. And we also did a bunch of campaigns. One of them was the Philipstown Fights Dirty campaign in conjunction with the Ecological Citizens Project. We've done an electric car campaign, community solar, and clean heating and cooling. And thanks to doing these campaigns, we were eligible through NYSERDA's Clean Energy Communities programs to get some grant money. if we were successful. And we are actually the second community in all of New York State to successfully complete the electric vehicle campaign. And because of that, we're getting a $5,000 grant that we can use towards projects in the town. And we have installed 2 pollinator gardens, one at the town hall. If you haven't seen it, check it out this summer. The other one at the rec center. We've written articles for the PCNR and for the Highlands Current. And the amount of money that we've raised is $1,300 from one community solar program or campaign that we did. And then another $10,000 because we completed the electric vehicle campaign and community solar campaign. So this funding is going to be used for putting in electric vehicle chargers at the town hall, for launching this food scraps recycling program. So it's really exciting to be able to like put that money back into things in the community. And lastly, we again partnered with the Ecological Citizens Project to launch the Phillipstown Climate Fund, which aims to help Phillipstown residents transition away from fossil fuels to cleaner, cheaper alternatives. And right now the applications are open until February 15th. And this program is aimed specifically to help low to moderate income households to make switches to electric heat pumps, electric hot water heater, smart thermostat, or induction stovetop. And if you would like to apply, you can pick up paper applications at both libraries, or you can go to our website, which is climatesmartphillipstown.org, and fill out the application online there. So that's basically it for my update, but we're doing a lot. There's a lot of great volunteers in the community. And, please check out the website I just mentioned, climatesmartphillipstown.org, because we have a lot of resources available on there to help you. So that's it. And thank you.
Well, thank you, Crystal. And you're another example of somebody that we pay a little bit of money and they work like 50 hours a week for us. So it's much appreciated. We will, as promised, we will get the charging system dug and the posts in very soon, but don't anybody tell my son that he's digging the hole. So.
Oh, well, it was funny. She said you had agreed to dig them. I said that's because he's not digging them.
Don't tell Kevin.
I said his son doesn't know yet, but he's doing it. So.
Is he digging the trench all the way into the building?
Yeah, it's like 5 feet.
I know,
Yeah, it's not a big.
You should get that done in an hour.
He'll be all right. He's a big, strong kid.
I'll buy his lunch.
Okay. Perfect. How about me? All right, so thank you, Crystal. As soon as the weather's cooperative, we'll get that dug.
Excellent. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah, we are ready to call on the public, Tara. We're all set.
Yeah,
Yes.
anything else from the audience? If you're going to talk, just come up to the mic, please.
I'm wondering how many applications you've gotten for the heat pump or any of those appliances and stuff. Have people been noticing it and applying?
So I know from that we've only got for that Philipstown Climate Fund, which it reminds me, Supervisor Shea said when it was announced that he was going to donate his paycheck. I've got to track him down. I think it may be too late. So
I'll dig a hole.
ship sailed. I'll be knocking on his door. I think we've had 2 applications. I think that we've advertised in the paper. The issue is that the first advertisement was a lot of words, environment, and I think now we just have to say money available to help transition to electric appliances. There's been 2 applications, but we're hoping for more. Just got launched. Yeah.
Thank you. You're up, Nat.
Good evening, everybody. I'm glad I came on a good night when there wasn't such a full agenda, but I'm here with my coordinator of the comprehensive plan hat on, in the hopes that we could maybe find a time to do a workshop. Because I think there are a couple of things that we promised that we would do, I think. One of them was to go through the comprehensive plan and see if there weren't 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 1 or 2 items in it that were so much in keeping with the things that you were working on that it would be smart to actually act upon those action items. So we need to, if you'll help me get a committee together, that's my other request, is to go from Comprehensive Plan Update Committee, which is largely out of business now because the comprehensive plan has been updated and we've given you a new one, to a standing comprehensive plan committee.
Like a maintenance committee.
We could call it whatever you like. But I don't, how about just comprehensive plan committee?
Sure.
And that group wouldn't meet very often, but it would be the group that would do the job for the town board of culling through the 150 things that are in that plan and trying to serve up 4 or 5 that made particular sense in any one particular year. I mean, we're hopeful of getting on a cycle where this would all happen in the fall as we look ahead to the new year. In the fall, this committee would present to you, perhaps in consultation with 1 or 2 of you. I mean, we would try to make this a coordinated effort, so we're not going to propose anything that's way off the list of things that you want to work on. But we would, as proposed, in fact, as mandated in the plan, it says that every fall we'd have this annual review. But I think a committee could make it easy on the town board. We could go through it, be listening over the course of the year and decide what are the 4 or 5 pieces of low-hanging fruit that we could get done in that particular year. Other than that, if we don't do that, the plan's just going to sit there. Right. We'll drag it out when we need to fight something. But the way to do it, I think, is to be more proactive than that. And there's a group of people, this is the side benefit, there are a group of people who have come up to me and said that they would like to be involved in this effort. So we get new, fresh blood into the process. And I think we should just have a workshop and see if we can get on the same page about...
Sure. Would you like to meet in February, March? When would you...
As soon as you say. I mean, we promised ourselves... I think we talked once about January, but now it's February. Right. So love to get a workshop. If you all pick a date in February, be happy to be here.
So do you want it, right now you have the one scheduled for the 9th and you already have the 2 things. So there's the 16th, the 23rd.
Does the 16th work for everybody? Does that work for you, Ned?
It does.
Okay.
Anything.
Yeah.
Our schedule will suit yours.
So let's do that. And then would you like us to advertise for the committee for people, or do you think...
What do you think? I mean, here's what I'd really like to do is present a list.
And you have willing people, then...
Yeah, these are people who are interested. I guess there is this, the proper, the town board needs to look at and feel comfortable with and may feel a need to advertise on top of that.
It's probably a good idea to open it up so it's not...
you're right. We don't want it to look like a little club.
Correct.
So,
why don't we advertise?
Well, and how many people do you want on the committee?
Yeah, we just, you know what, maybe at the workshop, we'll just give you a recommendation as to what we think the right committee size would be.
Meet at the workshop, fine tune it, and then we
can we got a few people, here's the people, let's open it up, see if we can find some more,
And are you going to chair the committee?
Unless, well, we'll see. But yes. John, if asked, I would be happy to.
I would love to have you chair that committee now.
As the committee. I mean, I sort of made this bed, so I feel like I probably should.
Happy to have you.
Stay involved.
How many years have you worked on this comprehensive plan?
Well, two comprehensive plans.
But I mean, since 2000 it started.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, it took 10 years off in the middle, but...
you deserve it. I appreciate it.
Well, but you know what? I think it's just worthwhile to keep this thing alive, because you'd be surprised how quickly you lose track of what's in it, and there's an awful lot of good stuff in it. I mean, this idea, for example, this notion of, and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but this thing called the, Jason, help me, Community Preservation Act, what's the... what's would say?
It's a fund. It's a fund.
Fund,
Yes.
which, I think the land trust is all over, and you all are all over, but the beauty of it is that here's a source of money for some of the things that are in the comprehensive plan. I mean, that's a nice fit. So I hope those wheels are turning, and if we can, by making that a priority, support that, we should do that too.
Nancy and I had a meeting yesterday, and we quoted the comprehensive plan, so...
Good. And I'm going to make one other
It
comment.
helped us out. in
Yeah,
the long
one
run.
other comment, because, and you guys can probably imagine how this has come up, but I've had a number of people come up to me and say, Nat, does a certain project in town meet the comprehensive plan? And I've been my usual evasive self on that subject, but because that's the beauty of the plan. Anybody for or against can. It's harder. It has a lot in it.
Right.
And I think, to me, what meets my answer to the question of does it meet the comprehensive plan, perhaps not every line, but it's a fair statement that if you read through the whole thing, then you get the idea whether the plan, let's take that specific plan aside. Right. I'm going to say any plan should be looked at from the point of view of the totality of the comprehensive plan, not just one section or one goal.
Correct. Thank you. I appreciate it. And all your work, constant since 2000. Well, you had a 10-year break.
So what did we decide on date 16th?
16.
Yeah,
Okay, and what time do we start?
7:30.
Thank you very much.
Any problems with getting the rest of your committee here, then just let us know or let Tara know and we'll work it out.
Whoever's available will get here.
As long as it doesn't snow, we'll be here.
Yeah, they're anxious to do this.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks,
bye.
Nat. Appreciate it.
I saw the email from Nicole about the logo and everything, so that's gonna go out regarding the.
Tara provided the logo.
Yeah, the postcard that they're gonna send out regarding, was that for the fund, yeah. Yep.
Yes. Okay.
So as of right now that we made those 2 appointments, we don't have any vacancies. I don't consider not having a conservation board chair a vacancy, so.
No.
And next is just the approval of vouchers.
Okay. Approval of vouchers, general.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Highway.
So moved.
Second. Anybody?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and I vote aye. Continental Village Park District.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? And I vote aye. Continental Village Water District.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you all.
Second.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.